So we're gonna start my waste trap valves. We're gonna be replacing with auto ones. We're gonna need some gloves, so we're gonna start with that first because I'm touching a bunch of sewer. I'm not really impressed with that, but we'll do it. So we're gonna use these gloves, and we're gonna start by taking my panel off, which I was talking to in my last video. And I think this is where we're at here. So I've already started taking some of this apart. What we're going to do is we're going to cut these cables because we're not going to use these. These are for the waste trap valve that we're not going to be using. We're going to be doing the gray and the fresh, or the gray and the sewer, sorry. So we don't need them. You can't disconnect any of this. So this thing has to stay attached to this. And it's kind of a headache actually to have all this. You have to go in underneath here and actually, here, just get her in here and we'll show it how deep, and that's way back in there. Again, not as bad as some RVs, but this, if it would have been disconnected and we could unscrew this, would have been perfect. But you can't unscrew this. I tried. We're gonna have to cut this, or we can disconnect it at the valve, and then we can take this panel out, which has become a real pain in the butt. We won't need this when we do the new setup. So I'm gonna do a few videos on this, just showing kind of how this works. But anyway, what we're gonna do first is we're gonna cut this, take this valve out, or take this, the kind of the mount or the manifold, I'm gonna call it. We're gonna pull that out, and then we can get ourselves in here, and we're gonna kind of show you some of the things that we're gonna do to try and get in there. Again, I'm green, and I'm not a professional. We're just trying the same thing that you would be doing. Again, subscribe and like. We'll try and keep doing these videos. I'm not doing it for the subscribe and like, but if you do, I'll have lots of cool content. Average Todd here again. You know what, so we're gonna start working on this kit right here. This is the Valterra kit. I chose this kit just based on kind of some YouTube info and some, I guess, doing a little bit of research on the internet, which is, there are some things on this on the internet. So I mean, search them up. There's some good install kits too, or install guides from other people. Nothing specific to a motorhome. That's kind of why I'm doing this one. It's sort of, again, nothing on motorhomes, just on motor trailers, which are similar. But if anyone wanted to see one on a motorhome, this is what's going to kind of happen on this unit. And this is a Holiday Rambler 2008. So there you go. This is some of the tools I'm going to be using. So again, you don't have to use all these tools. These are some of the tools that I'm using. Again, don't know really what I'm getting into because, again, I've never done one. But I do like this kit for the many reasons. For the black tank switches, and all these switches are really professional and look really clean and kind of OEM. So really impressed with those. Really happy with this device. Basically the motor and the valve, this is for the gray water, but you just unclip this. If you have a problem and this doesn't work, because I mean electronics again doesn't work, just pull that. You have to dig up in there and get there, but I mean there is an option to do it. So that's really nice, because there are some other items on the internet that don't have that option to do it manually, which is really good. So I can do it manually or I can do it electronically. Huge feature for these guys. So really appreciate it. I'm going to try it and I'm going to see how it goes, and I'm going to hopefully do a follow-up video in a year or whenever I've used it a few times, and I'll let you know if there's anything that doesn't work. I am going to take this grinder here. I'm going to just show you what I'm up to with this thing. I mean, when people wonder why I got a grinder, well, I'm not using the cables anymore. So these are all the waste cables, gray cables. I couldn't get them off. They don't unscrew. They're full thing. I have to go in and get them. It's really hard with all this stuff going on. So if you take a look in here, I'm gonna just show you how much stuff is in behind my manifold here. If you come and just take a peek here, just take a look at all that stuff I've got to get around. So what I'm saying to you is those cables don't come out. This doesn't come out. Even if I'm just doing cables and manual cables, this is a real headache. You have to dig up in there and you have to undo them, and then you can pull these cables out. I'm not going to use them, so I'm going to grind them off, and then I'm going to take this panel out so I can get myself into this cove here and start working. So anyways, we're going to get this out, and we'll take some videos of everything that's going to kind of happen here as it goes, okay? So this I'm just going to take, and I'm going to use my guard down, my safety glasses, or my glasses. Again, I'm not an experienced guy, but there you go, boom, just like that. Taking that off. I'm going to take this one off the same way. Pull that through. This one here is going to be a little different. Yes, I get sparks are going everywhere. It was pretty minor, so please don't comment on everything I do. I'm just showing you what an average Todd would do. Again, this isn't what everybody else would do. So there, finally, this panel is out, which is really fantastic for me. One other thing I'm going to mention about these panels is these manifolds are they're really weak. Like a fiberglass. Again, these are expensive. Holiday Rambler is a good name. It's been around for a while. Why put in that? Could have put a nice piece of aluminum in. I've thought about maybe redoing it, redoing the stickers and doing it out of aluminum. Because when you pull that cable, what's happening is that cable actually flexes on this. It almost feels like it's gonna bust. So not super impressed. I'm not going to change it because I'm putting my electric switches on, so I won't be putting as much stress on it anymore. But if you have cables and they're pushing on it like that, when you're pulling them out and in, because they're stressed out, maybe take it and get it done in aluminum. You can probably get a deco company to come up with all those decos, and that would be a really cool update. I'm not gonna do it, but that's a cool update I thought about doing. Anyways, so we're gonna come in here and just have a look. This is what we're up against in here. So we've got all my plumbing behind. So my manifold actually sat just like this. I'm gonna show you how this sat. This manifold was basically just in front like this. Of course, in the compartment, okay? So back in here, I just basically took everything out with screws. It was fairly straightforward. Screws, and either went in the back to get my faucets, and there was a little bolt or nut on the back that came undone real super simple. A couple screws, take it out. Now you have this out, and like I say, the biggest problem was with just those cables that stuck in there. Real headache. So when you come into my compartment, again, Holiday Rambler 2008, come on in here. This guy here, I had a lot of issues with, because what happens is when this leaks, what happens is it leaks through this trap here. And what happened is these things are beautiful. You come up in here and you open this up and there's everything in here, like all the feces, all the poop and everything. So not much fun. Didn't want to always have to deal with that. Came up with this as a second to that, which has been really handy. But now you see the poop in here, and what's happened is it's actually leaks back because my gray water is up in here and leaks back, and my gray water valve is back there. It actually leaked up onto this compartment and then leaked out onto that compartment. So what I'm getting at is it's been a real nightmare. Got gray water problems, valves, and then I've also got the waste valves. So what I've done is I'm going to do that system today, hoping to fix that. No more cables. Hopefully I'll probably leave this in here too, just as a backup again, just for, I don't want to have to deal with stuff in this area. Thing I do like about motorhomes is this is all plastic. It has drains, so you can take a hose in here and you can kind of rinse it out. The only downfall again is they put the motor right here for the water and the pump, which is fine. Good manifold, really appreciate this. Really, this is actually pretty decent for a motorhome, I think, for nowadays, but this is 2008. They're probably made it a lot harder now to get at. So, you know, like I've got a few things to deal with here. I'm gonna deal with them. Not a big deal. I'm hoping this goes fairly smooth. The other thing is the gray water's on that side, and we'll come around here. We'll walk around and we'll have a look. So follow me over here. So over on this compartment here, this is where, unfortunately, poop and pee was also coming into, because of basically up in here in this tray, you can kind of see right here. You can see right in here that you can kind of see where it's leaking on that valve. That's my waste one. Well, my waste one my gray one ties into my waste one over there. So it was leaking back because it was overfilling in that pipe and coming back to my gray. Now it started leaking through my valve down here, which then in turn leaked into all my goods here, which is not much fun. So I do appreciate again the fact I can get at that valve fairly straightforward through here, and the other valve, again, a real positive for a motorhome at this age. I don't think you're gonna see this as easy on a lot of the newer motorhomes, or the RVs for that matter. But there was a panel, again, took it off. And again, I just started doing these videos, but again, things that, you know, I wish there were videos out there like this. And this thing just kind of fits into there. And I actually thought that was a water tank at first and thought it was leaking. So, or the waste tank, but it's just a metal panel, which is really amazing. Pulled that out, got great access. I think it's really hard to see that, you know, back in 2008 that they thought of all this. They actually thought about, you know, maybe somebody wants to work on this. Even the RV techs in the world, you know, like I think they would appreciate these kinds of things going on. So anyway, really appreciate a Holiday Rambler 2008 older motorhome like this. I definitely recommend. But anyways, I'm going to get at her. stuff. And I mean, again, Holiday Rambler 2008, amazing. Everything's clipped. Everything's clipped. It's amazing. My water pump was clipped so I can move all this wiring over to the thing here. Now I'm getting full access to this valve up here. It's got to get in here with two 7/16 wrenches in the socket. I'm going to pull that apart up there. So I'm going to get right back to you after I get her done. Of course, I'm going to have some waste. That's going to be part of the deal. So I'm going to put some rags down and hopefully soak it up a little bit. I've drained this for about a week, so I'm hoping it just as dry as can be. Anyway, here we go. Grab me a couple of those. Hi guys, Average Todd here again. You know what? We've got this baby off. I've got a couple bolts out already. We're going to now take this apart, hopefully, and hopefully not have too much leaking going on. I got one more bolt at the bottom there. The bolts all came out real easy by hand actually, so hoping everything comes apart real easy. Anyway, we're gonna keep taping. Guys, Average Todd again here. Got this baby out. This is the 3H waste. Yeah, it's not looking great. It actually looks pretty new, but we're having issues with this cable again. I don't know why, but you can see it's just not going in and out. You can see how tough it is right there, like just pushing that in. So we're taking it out of there. This is what we're gonna do with it. We're gonna file it in the garbage. This is another situation here. These are the rubbers that go into the valve. They go like this basically, one on the plumbing, one on the plumbing. These little things go into the actual valves, the little chamfers here. So that's how you put those on, okay? We're gonna take these out. These are the old ones. We're gonna put new ones in. We're gonna clean up around there with the cloth. You can see I got it out of there. Again, fairly straightforward. So appreciate it, thanks. So here's the new valve rubbers, seals. So I'm gonna put these in. Naturally, I'm gonna put them in. So my two plumbing pipes are here. My valve goes in the middle. This is gonna go like this. This will go into my valve, this will go into my valve, and this will get put onto my water pipe. So what I am going to do is put a little bit of lubricant, we're gonna call it fluid film, just to kind of make it a little bit sticky and to keep it from drying out or keeping it so that it keeps soft. So that's what I'm going to do there. I'm going to stick those into the pipe in my compartment now. Just wipe those up, and we'll do maybe that side too, and we'll just wipe that up there like that. Make them real soft. There. Okay, awesome. Hi guys. So we got the 3.5 inch in on the other side of the motorhome. Let's just take a quick peek at that. So let's follow me to the door here. So that's just on the other side there. If you see in there, just get a good picture in there. You betcha. You see up in there. So looks awesome. Everything went in there pretty good. Come on back over here. I'm going to just show you on this valve here. This valve is an 1.5 inch one. So this is the gray water and that's the waste one. So these valves are really awesome. This is the auto shut one. But what is really a problem is in that compartment, it's hard to get in there, just like anywhere else in all the RVs, it'll be hard to get into. The problem you're gonna find is these two back bolts right here. So this bolt and possibly this bolt. This is a great idea if they would have moved this up an inch this way. Then it would allow you to get room into here. I understand that maybe they have to create something different here, but these two bolts are a very big pain. I couldn't get my hands in there, and I could definitely not get my hand in there because you can see how tight that is. That's a real problem. It's hard to get through, and if you have a real tight spot, it's almost impossible. So that's a problem. Just keep that in mind. I had my wife actually go in and do it because she has smaller hands than me, and she did it unwillingly. So anyways, this is the 1.5 inch. We're gonna have probably some similar problems with it because we have to get in there. Well, we have to get into the back again, but the other issue I was going to mention was I did put the valve or the rubber seals on the actual fittings. Didn't really work out. I've seen videos actually on that. I think that's where I got it from. I find that if you actually put the seals on the actual valve like this, it works better. So I recommend that. Maybe don't put too much grease like I did the first time. I learned from that too. I think it's a little too much. I might throw a little bit on here just to kind of keep it greased. And the other issue I found too is these rubbers, when they come in a package squished together like this. Maybe take them out and let them heat up a little bit in the sun or something so that they can kind of go back to their shape. So just some things I've found. So far so good. Bit of a struggle, hot day, so it's never fun doing any of this. But anyways, we're gonna get at her. So we're got this one wrapped up as well. This is the 1.5 inch. It was a little bit better. So let's take a look at that valve there. Just the thing with the valve is, again, it was all very close. You had to dig in here. I mean, again, it's not as bad as some of them out there, but it's a bit of work. So we're gonna now sit there. I think we're gonna try and get them hooked up dry. I'm gonna wire everything up just so I can open and close before I put all the compartment traps back on and manifolds, and see if there's any leaks before we do it. So anyhow, let's just see what we can come up with, but I think this is where we're at. Hopefully we see no leaks and we can shut everything up and we're good to go. Hi guys, so we're going to now wire the switches in because I want to test to make sure they're not leaking. So what I'm going to do is, here's the switches here. What I've done already, just ahead of time here, is I've tested the wires. These are all the switches on my manifold. So some run pumps, some run heaters, some run the Sani heater, some run a bunch. So what I do now, what I've done is I've just taken my tester here and I've stuck it in here and just checked, right? So let's just see, nothing there, right? And I mean, this is just a Lyle tester. I'm a little shaky, there we go. So that's saying 13 volts. So I've just kind of temporary plugged it into this switch. I'll probably tap into this switch here, both of them, and then run that. So that just shows me that I've got power there, 13 volts, that's lots. I've got it plugged in there now. So if you look and just kind of put that up there, you can hear it and see it. Everything's opening over there. So I'm gonna go over and just have a look and just test it. So thanks. Well, I'm coming to the end almost on my system here that I've been putting into my motorhome here. One thing I will mention is those seals are a real problem. If you get them in and they slip and you don't see, especially on the 3-inch ones, they could slip inside, outside, they will leak. We did a test, everything was great. We put everything together. It was actually simple. We thought really simple actually. And then the seal was stuck, so we had to pull all the unit off again on the 3-inch, and it was a pain. So all I'm saying, I guess, is make sure those seals are sealed in there, because if they don't, they leak, then you got to take it all off again. A lot of work. And then we actually had to go to town, which took 2 hours to get another seal. Anyway, so we're going to do the manifold here right now. I'm just going to be a quick show what we're going to do here. I'll show you after the fact, but I'm going to come up with some holes and stuff, and these panels are going to have these on. So I'm just testing out my gray valve now. So it's open, you can see the valve is open. No leaking. This is again the auto valves, and again, what I really like about these auto valves is it's the Valterra. It's you can undo that little clip there, and you can pull that thing manually if that for some reason does not work. Real big deal for me. I just think that it's nice that I can get into these compartments and I can actually do this. As you see, no leaking with my gray, which is really good because we tested my water on my waste and it didn't leak. So did a lot of deal with it. This one went really smooth, the other one didn't go so smooth. It had to replace the seal a few times. So anyhow, that's really great news, really good news. So I've got my waste gate auto valves that I'm putting back in, and I took it all apart, and then I have this cargo heater, which is really cool, down there. And you know what, I decided I was going to try it before I put it back in, and because I'd never really used it, or I mean, I bought this and I didn't even really test it. So anyway, long story short, tried it, it doesn't work. So it's kind of good I didn't put it back in because it's not working anyway. So I'm going to try and still, I like the idea of it. I don't really winter camp, so it's not a big deal. This basically goes in the bottom of this tank over here. So this would go in here like this, down in here, and it actually just keeps this compartment warm, and all my plumbing's in here. So it's a good idea if you're, I guess, doing cooler fall camping more so. I'll probably look for another one just to replace it to make sure it's working, but for now I'm not going to put it in. So anyways, that's the unit that I'll be looking to replace. So that's it. So we got everything wrapped up here, as you can see. It was a little bit of work putting it all back together. A couple hours actually to just get it all back together. These water valves here, the connectors were a little hard to get on. This was a little hard to get on. It's everything's moving and shaking and tight in there, so it's always, like you say, it's in a trailer situation, it's very tight all the time. So everything's working really good though. Switches, I checked them all. Everything works really well. Gonna do a back or a follow-up video eventually on all this, but hopefully, you know what, everything's back together. It took a little longer than I expected. Had to stop and go a couple times, but for the most part, I'm like I say, a DIY kind of guy, and it worked out, and I'm pretty happy the way everything turned out on the board here. I hope you guys take a chance of doing it too. Those valves, those auto valves, are going to be a real savior from the cables. So anyways, again, this is a 2008 Holiday Rambler Motorhome. We did the auto valve system, the Valterra, and we're going to see how they go. Hopefully I'll update this in a year or so. So right on, thanks. On to the next project.